Good evening, you're watching News Mongolian World. I'm your host, Tamer Batra. And for top stories, Mongolia adopts a national action plan on responsible business and human rights. Meeting held between the European Union's Forest Partnership Working Group and Mongolia. MIAT Mongolian Airlines offers reduced ticket prices to boost tourism. And for the news, stay tuned. Mongolia reached a significant milestone on July 3rd with the official launch of the National Action Plan on the protection of human rights and the prevention of abuses related to business operations.
Ensuring that no one is left behind.
Establishing itself as the fourth country in the Asia-Pacific region to adopt such a comprehensive plan, this achievement highlights Mongolia's dedication to promoting responsible business practices, safeguarding human rights, and advancing the sustainable development goals.
Today's event is very important because this is speaking about the launch of the National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights, which has been officially adopted by the government of Mongolia. The action plan has a number of objectives in it and actual activities that need to be done for businesses to ensure that they're respecting human rights, not only of their employees, but also of communities and the areas that they work in. So they should follow these actions, for example, protecting labor rights, ensuring that there's no discrimination, no child labor, providing employment opportunities for people with disabilities, ensuring no gender discrimination, or even promoting women's rights in the workforce. So that's how this action plan will help businesses to better protect human rights. First, most important is there's a due diligence tool. So businesses do what's called a human rights due diligence. So that checks where they're at as far as implementation of protection and promotion of human rights. And then they get a report that shows maybe some strengths or some weaknesses, some areas that they need to address. And civil society's role is very active and important in this because civil society has the role to monitor and oversee, how the implementation of the action plan is going, not only by businesses, but also by the government of Mongolia.
The United Nations Development Programme's B+HR Asia program, in collaboration with the European Union, played a crucial role in providing significant support for the development of Mongolia's National Action Plan. This partnership underscores the commitment of international organizations and the Mongolian government to promoting human rights and responsible business practices.
In 2003, the Parliament of Mongolia approved the National Program for Ensuring Human Rights, which outlines the contributions of private enterprises, governmental, judiciary and non-governmental organizations in promoting and safeguarding human rights. The program emphasizes the importance of a favorable working environment, decent work conditions, and workplaces free from violence and discrimination. It also highlights fair labor practices and alignment with the International Labour Organization agreements, and looking ahead, there are plans to detail how private sector representatives and businesses can contribute to respecting, protecting, and preserving human rights over the next 20 years.
The 2023 to 2027 National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights aims to guide businesses in respecting human rights through practical guidelines and a human rights due diligence tool. It also focuses on strengthening stakeholder capacity and improving access to mechanisms for addressing human rights violations. This reflects Mongolia's commitment to fostering a business environment that upholds human rights and provides effective avenues for addressing challenges.
The Mongolian government has prioritized the protection and restoration of human rights. In June 2023, it fulfilled its obligations to the United Nations by approving a national plan for human rights protection in the business environment. This comprehensive plan encompasses 81 measures and 26 objectives across 3 key areas. It outlines actions the government and businesses should take to protect and respect human rights, as well as address violations. This commitment demonstrates Mongolia's dedication to upholding human rights in the business sector.
Representatives from the public and private sectors, civil society organizations, and development partners attended the launch event, which was held to foster partnership and collaboration in implementing the National Action Plan. This inclusive approach underscores the shared commitment to promoting responsible business practices and protecting human rights. Mongolia is poised to make significant progress in advancing the National Action Plan on Business and Human Rights.
Thank you for staying with us. Now let's take a look at the currency exchange rates provided by Mongol Bank. The inaugural meeting of the Working Group on Policy Support for the Implementation of the Memorandum of Understanding between Mongolia and the European Union on Forest Partnership took place on July 3, 2023. Representatives of Mongolia and the European Union discussed the effective implementation of the Forest Partnership Agreement.
In November 2022, during the World Leaders Summit at the United States Climate Change Conference held in Sharm el-Sheikh and the Arab Republic of Egypt, the President of Mongolia, Hursukhna, and the President of the European Commission, Ursula von der Leyen, signed a Memorandum of Understanding on Forest Partnership between Mongolia and the European Union.
So at the moment, we have already an ongoing project that is called STREAM, that is focusing on sustainable agriculture and forest management. And it is both implemented in Selenge and Khenti AMAX. So this first little bit pioneer project is to identify some innovative technique, both on sustainable agriculture and forest management. I just take the opportunity to also insist that sustainable agriculture, food security and forest management goes hand in hand. That's why this project, this first project ongoing now, with the support of both the FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, and GIZ, our German partners, we are working already on forest management and sustainable agriculture. We have now secured 13.8 million euro of a new grant to continue this work on forest management and sustainable agriculture. So these are very concrete measures to go ahead our process. And of course, we hope that, as Minister Bat Edene was underlining in his opening, that our holistic approach, this comprehensive and sustainable way, will also drag some direct foreign investment, because there is a lot that is needed for the forest in Mongolia.
As one of the 5 countries included in the European Union's Forest Partnership Program, Mongolia is the sole representative from the Asia-Pacific region. This initiative aims to reduce the impacts of climate change, address challenges in the forest sector, and promote sustainable development and environmental protection.
I think it's also important to stress that it's a partnership with other actors. France has an expert in the National Forestry Agency to share our experience, to also articulate different types of cooperation. And it's also an opportunity to make sure we have concrete projects. So let me mention maybe just one. I said that it's about sharing experience. France has the experience of deforestation, of reforestation, and these days of combating wildfires. So one of our goals is to articulate what we do in terms of forest management in Mongolia, of value chain in Mongolian forest, but also in fighting climate change, in fighting its effects in the shape of wildfires, for example. So we have a cooperation with the National Emergency Management Agency, we have a cooperation with the National Forest Agency, and we try to connect them so that people on the ground work together, and we can share the experience we have in fighting wildfires in Europe and in Mongolia.
The Forestry Partnership focuses on key areas such as forest restoration and protection, the development of forest-based economic sectors, job creation, value-added product manufacturing, investment attraction, and biodiversity preservation.
The establishment of a working group for cooperation and implementation between Mongolia and the European Union, following the signing of the Memorandum of Understanding on Forest Partnership, represents a proactive step toward achieving shared objectives. The working group is currently focused on developing a roadmap that will provide clear guidance on forest restoration, sustainable management, and conservation efforts. By following this roadmap, the aim is to expand forest resources and ensure their proper utilization through effective planning and responsible practices. This roadmap plays a crucial role in charting the path toward a sustainable and thriving forest sector.
Since January 2023, the Ministry of Environment and Tourism of Mongolia, Forestry Research and Development Agency, and the European Union delegation to Mongolia have collaboratively worked on the roadmap project. Meetings with various stakeholders, including local organizations and scientific non-governmental organizations, were held to gather input and present the project. With the roadmap's approval during the inaugural meeting of the Policy Support Working Group, a course has been set for sustainable and thriving forest sector in Mongolia.
MIAT Mongolian Airlines has commenced its scheduled flights to various domestic destinations in alignment with the government's objective to bolster tourism, revive domestic air travel and lower ticket prices.
On June 30th, MIAT successfully operated its first scheduled flight from Ulaanbaatar to Khoft, marking the revival of domestic flights by the airline after a 15-year hiatus. Currently, MIAT Mongolia's national carrier is conducting regular flights to Charbалсан, Даланзадгад, Мөрөн, Улаастай, Баянхонгор, Алтай, Khoft, Улаангом, and Ulgi. The frequency of these flights ranges from 1 to 3 times weekly, and ticket prices have been significantly reduced by 2 to 2.5 times compared to previous prices. To provide specific examples of the reduced ticket prices, a round-trip ticket to Khoft in Khofdamek or Ulgi in Bayolgi province now costs 810,000 Mongolian Tugriks and 902,000 Mongolian Tugriks respectively, whereas previously it ranged between 1.5 to 1.7 million Mongolian Tugriks. Traveling to Ulaangom in Ofs or Ulaaste and Zavkhan, the ticket prices are now between 633 to 852,000 Mongolian Tugriks. For Даланзадгад and Umngov, the prices range from 500 to 617,000 Mongolian Tugriks. Journeying to Murung in Hoskul, the ticket prices vary from 500 to 680,000 Mongolian Tugriks. Travel to Kovalta of Altai is priced at 733 to 852,000 Mongolian Tugriks. The government has declared the years of 2023-2025 as the years to visit Mongolia, and as part of this initiative decided to revive MIAT's scheduled flights to domestic destinations and offer them at reduced prices. To facilitate these flights, Mongolian Airlines has obtained a wet lease of CRGA 200 aircraft from CEM Air, an airline operating in South Africa.
Here's the weather forecast of world's major cities. Well, that's all for today. Thank you for staying with us. We'll see you tomorrow with more news and updates. Have a nice evening. Goodbye.